We will rock you. That's right. The narcissist does not know what's coming. When they want you back, when they want you to trust you again, that is the funniest crap ever sometimes, you know? Like when they really think that after what they did to you, you're just going to welcome them back. You spent the last God knows how many years or months or whatever going through this healing process. And if it takes more than a few years to grieve for some of these different kinds of relationships with a narcissist, I think that there's some deeper healing that you're going to need to be involved with, and that you're going to need to really make sure that you are on the process of healing with as well. But it's just so funny to me how sometimes when the narcissist wants to come back into your life and they see that you are a person that is now thriving without them. And like, I don't want to make this about like genders per se, but man, women are the funniest when it comes to this kind of thing. Female narcissists, when they see that you're better off without them, or that you even have the possibility of being with someone else or whatever, that's when things can get really interesting. And so in today's video, I'm going to talk about why the narcissist wants you to trust them again after they've given you no reason to. All that they've shown you is how to lie really good, how to manipulate you. And if you're a man that's been manipulated by a female, or if you're a female that's been manipulated by a man, it's going to have a drastic effect, especially if, like, depending on the duration. Because I know that there's been some people that had a duration of being decades. They've been lied to for decades. And now they're getting out of their marriage, or they're getting out of whatever their family is in about, or whatever the situation is, and they're realizing just how trauma-filled the household is. And just the relationship in general. And it's really kind of a shock to some of them. It's really kind of and this is exactly what happens when you're on, when you're healing from the narcissistic relationship, it is a shock to you that someone can be so malevolent and someone can be so disingenuous with who they are and what they're trying to do. And you really never know what their true intentions are. That's something that I learned from the narcissistic relationships that I had, is like, all you can really guarantee for yourself is that they are in it for them. Do you know why? No, probably not. Do you know what they're trying to get? Not all the time. You can figure it out down the line, but not all the time. You're not going to know right off the bat, or even in the midst of the situation. It's so inconceivable sometimes, because you think to yourself, why should I trust a word of what you say? Why should I trust anything that you do to be genuine? Like these women out here that are willing to cheat on their boyfriends or their husbands and try to get with the next best thing. And then they act like, because they know how to seduce you, or they think they do, that you should give them a shot or an opportunity, or they're going from relationship to relationship. And it's the same thing with the men. The men out here that think that they can just, they can cheat. And look, if you're a man and it is your biblical right to have more than one woman. I'm personally not going to do that. I don't plan to do that. But it is your biblical right to have more than one wife, granted that the first wife is open to it. If she's not open to it, then you shouldn't even be in that kind of relationship with that kind of woman. Because if the woman is looking for a monogamous relationship, then it would be disingenuous of you to pursue that and to create that relationship when it doesn't matter. But it's, like, I just don't get why so many people bounce from relationship to relationship or from person to person. And they're like, oh, I just want to meet new people. Why? Like, I'm not saying that it's bad to meet new people. I'm just saying, like, why do you want to continue to meet new people and like, oh, I need to get out and date and I need to take my mind off of myself. It's like, what? Do you know what you're really doing? Take your mind off of yourself? Can you not live with yourself? And the answer is no. A lot of the people out here, they can't live with themselves. They don't trust themselves, so how are they supposed to trust somebody else? And to be honest, the more you learn how to trust yourself, I genuinely believe the less you begin to trust everybody else. And it's not because you hate humanity or you hate people or you despise them or have resentment or anything like that. It's just that you know that most people are, well, we're creatures at the end of the day, and we're all trying to do what's best for ourselves. And so I don't hate on anybody that's trying to live their life in accordance to the ways that they want to pursue their best life, so to speak. But at the same time, I just don't have the patience to trust a lot of these people when they continue to show me through their actions that they're not trustworthy. And then they expect me to be loyal to them or them to be loyal to me. It's like, no. If you want to show me that I can trust you, because if you don't show me that I can trust you, then I'm going to show you who you are. I'm going to show you exactly what you are by not giving you what you want and by being the reflection of the good of the evil inside you. Because a lot of these narcissistic people out here, they are genuinely evil. And I would say a lot of people have narcissistic traits. Like, everybody has narcissistic traits to some degree. But there are roughly 10% narcissists as far as the literary documentation of the population that are considered to be narcissists. I am genuinely believing, and I've just had the experience enough to know that I would say roughly 66 to 70% of the people are exhibiting highly narcissistic traits. Not all of them are narcissists, but they're very narcissistic, or they're experiencing some kind of form of borderline personality disorder or anything of the sort. And I think this goes back to the Bible and what the Bible says about 2/3 having no eyes to hear. What is this? What is the exact phrasing? 2/3 of the people have no eyes to see and no ears to hear. And the 1/3, which is the God's people, the people of Israel, the Israel nation, those are the people, the 1/3, that have eyes to see and ears to hear. Well, what exactly does that mean in this context? It means that you are, as God's chosen people, you are someone that is capable of true empathy, of true genuineness, of authenticity, of compassion. You might be highly industrious to some degree. You might be very open-minded. You might think differently. There's it's actually a book, but there's a movie called Divergent. And Divergent, basically, they live in this, to give some more context of the movie, they live in this society that's fenced, and there's like 5 factions inside the fence, and each faction has its own specific kind of purpose meant for the society. And when you reach a certain age, you're going to be given a test to see which faction fits your personality best. And whenever the test fails to like assign you a certain faction, when you get multiple factions, you're considered what would they call a divergent. And a divergent is an individual that can be multiple things and that isn't necessarily one, like isn't only one kind of trait. They exhibit multiple different kinds of personality traits very strongly in different factions. And in the movie, and I'm sure in the book too, I've never read the book, but in the movie, all of the divergents are actually hunted down by the government officials or whatever, because they view the divergence as a threat to the society, wherein in reality the divergents are highly capable individuals, competent, extremely different when it comes to how they think. They can provide different kinds of new ideas, and I kind of akined it to what it's like to be among God's chosen people, because you never really fit in anywhere. Like, it seems like you never really fit in anywhere, and you're not sure why all the time, and sometimes you do know why, and other times you're just like I'm supposed to fit in here, and yet I feel more alone around people than I do by myself. And if that's the case, some of that may be because you're around narcissistic individuals, and the other kind of case maybe is just because you don't have the similar values or expectations of how the interactions are going to go with these people. But if you're around people that are highly narcissistic in this kind of environment, where you feel more together when you're alone and you have more energy when you're alone, the likelihood that you are around a narcissist is extremely high. Extremely high. So what we have to say as God's people to the narcissist is to let them know through our actions not to play with us, or we will show them who they are. That's the kind of boundary that we're going to need to set. And of course, if you expose the narcissist, it's not always going to be a walk in the park, and I don't really recommend that unless you're truly ready for it, because otherwise you're going to get a lot of pushback. And sometimes it's wiser not to expose the narcissist, but to let them know that you know who they are and what they are, and that you are not someone that can be easily manipulated into anything. And the only way that you can not be manipulated by the narcissist is to make sure you have proper internal boundaries as well as external boundaries, but more so internal boundaries than external. Well, what's an example of an internal boundary? Self-discipline. If you're able to tell yourself no, then the likelihood that you're going to be able to tell somebody else no is going to be a lot higher. Why? Because you know, because think about it. It's kind of weird. It's like, okay, I was at one point nearly 200 pounds, right? I had a lot of, a big desire of gluttony to some degree when it came to pizza and ice cream. When I had to stop eating so much pizza and ice cream, what did that do? It was almost like a spirit was possessing me, because I had to discipline myself, and it was weird. I really began to notice, like, wow, this is difficult to actually like discipline something inside me that I thought I had more control over than I did. That's weird. Like, that's a weird thing to exhibit, right? And that's exactly how you need to treat yourself when you're dealing with narcissists, because they can be very good at manipulation and gaslighting. And They can say all the right things. They can do all the right things to try to get you back. Like, they can try to wear what you like or do what you like, and they can see what you respond to and what you don't respond to. And it's not always out of genuine desire to be with you or support you. That's what you have to really understand and accept, that sometimes these people just want to be noticed by you because they feel like they deserve to be noticed by someone. And here's the weird thing about narcissists is sometimes the people that don't deserve any praise or recognition, the people that are, you know, they're fat, they're lazy, they don't treat themselves well, and they don't really treat others the best either. The narcissist is going to praise them. Meanwhile, you're kicking your butt trying to do everything you can to make sure that everybody around you is taken care of, and you're a selfless individual. You don't really know what it's like to be selfish. Now, Osho, who is a sage, has talked about selfishness. You need to learn how to be selfish. And when he says that, and when I say that, I don't mean you need to learn how to take and just be narcissistic and ruthlessly independent. No. That's not what I'm talking about exactly. You need to learn how to be yourself. And that sounds very simple. It sounds very easy, and it sounds very cliche, but it's very much the truth. And if you don't know how to be yourself, then you really don't know how to trust yourself. And until you can trust yourself, you're gonna be able to know who's trustworthy and who's not. So with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful to someone out there, and peace be with you. Till next time.